Let's talk card show strategy. Whether it's your first show or you are a seasoned veteran, getting ready for a show is always a big to do. There's a lot of packing and getting ready for it, and a lot of strategy that's involved. So I figured that I would walk you guys through my general process and some of the tips, tricks, and ways that I approach a card show, whether it's a local one or, the big national shows. So let's get to it. Real quick, before we jump into things, we do have a card show here this weekend in Nashville. It's the smaller local show, 100 tables, but really, really fun. Really looking forward to it. I'm going to be making content both for the new collector challenge as well as documenting for the overall card business. So if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to follow along because that should be up Sunday, Monday is my guess. But all right, let's get to it. Okay, so overall card show strategy, let's talk about it. Starting out, let's talk about what you need. What do you need to bring if you are heading to your card show? Whether it's local, big one, etc. Generally, the list is the same. Starting off with your must-haves. These are the things that I will not leave home without. First one is cash. If you are going to a card show, you need cash. I know people don't like to carry cash on them. I know that it can feel uncomfortable if you're starting out in the hobby, carrying what feels to you like a very large amount of cash. I can promise you there is somebody in the room with 10, 20, 30, 40 times the amount of cash that you're bringing. You just need to be careful with it. Have a place that you store it securely. Bring it. Most dealers only want cash. There are some dealers who will literally not take PayPal or Venmo, and you then therefore can't buy a card from them, which is really difficult. If you're going to a show, you need cash. I cannot emphasize this enough. The second one is your cards. If you're going to a show, you probably are looking to maybe sell some cards, maybe trade some cards, things like that. You need to bring the cards that you are wanting to move. Now for me, I only bring cards that I'm saying, if I have the opportunity to move this here, I'm going to do that. Outside of that, if I'm not looking to sell a card, if I'm not looking to trade it, there are some times that I'll bring a big PC card if I think there's the opportunity to maybe upgrade it. But generally, I don't bring anything from my personal collection that I'm not looking to move. It's just stuff that I say is inventory or stuff that I'm actively looking to trade or sell at the moment. With those cards, though, you're also going to need a way to carry those cards. I personally use it's a rolling suitcase. Mine's a Pelican case. It works really, really well. It lets you store a lot of stuff. Big plus for me is that it also works as a seat. Anywhere that you go, you basically have a built-in seat where you can, not have to fight for a chair. And if you're value boxing, that seat can be very, very valuable. Trust me. It doesn't need to be an expensive case. Some people have, their Zion cases, the 2-row, 3-row, 4-row, things like that. The biggest thing that I want to say is think about both how much space you need for the cards that you want to bring to the show, as well as how much you might be buying. For me, the Pelican case is really important because I know that I buy a lot of volume. You might not need that. You also might not need to bring something that, you might not need to bring all your cards and therefore you're not planning to buy a ton, so you might need a smaller thing. It can also just be a regular backpack or something like that. But think about a case for both your cards, and then you can also, in all reality, keep your cash there. One thought that I have as well for you is think about the weight of what you're having to carry around and how you're doing it. For me, I don't love a big, heavy backpack. I don't love having to kind of carry this big, heavy case in my hand. I like to have the roller case, but different strokes for different folks. Whatever works best for you is the best thing for you. Also, cell phone is a must-have. This is the way that you are going to comp cards. It is important. I know that it may feel awkward to do it, be standing in front of somebody's table and, pull up your phone and spend 30 seconds typing it into Card Ladder or eBay or whatever to look up what it's worth. But trust me, it's normal. Everybody does it. And you just are going to want a way to look up comps for the cards you're buying, and your cell phone is going to be the best way. Now, let's talk about some additional items. These are not necessarily requirements. They're things that I bring to every show pretty much, but depending on how you're approaching it, you may or may not need these. First one is sticky notes and a pen. Now you might say, why the heck would you need this? And the reason is I go to tables at the show and I'm buying stacks and stacks and stacks of cards. If I'm going through and comping some of the higher value stuff, generally we'll go through and make a list of low value stuff that we'll just do at a price per card, and then the higher value stuff we need to figure out an actual accurate value on. Now dealers should have a price for their cards. They should have a sticker or something that tells you how much they're looking for it. But is their price actually accurate? It depends. Some dealers, the answer there is yes. Some dealers, the answer is no. So The sticky note allows you to go up, look up the comp, and then put a sticky note right on the front of the card, and it tells you what that card you think comps at. And then you can go through with the dealer and say, okay, you were asking $60 for this card. I think it comps more at 40. And they can say, hey, I can't get to that value, or yes, I can get to that value. And that allows you to quickly identify where you may or may not be off or where you need to pull things out. Because what's tough is if you go through and just comp the whole lot and you say, hey, I think this lot is worth 700, you're asking 900. Well, where are we off? Where do we differ on the value? Is there one specific card? It allows you to easily track values of each individual card. Snacks. I'm at shows for a very, very long time. Not all shows have food. If they do have food, it's not necessarily the best food. It's not necessarily the most cost-effective food. So I think that bringing snacks is a really, really smart thing. Prevents you from needing to leave the show, which I don't want to leave the show. I don't know about you, but I want to get as much of the show in as I possibly can. And then finally is a portable charger. With that heavy cell phone use, it's not unusual to see your battery drain pretty quickly. So bringing that portable charger can be a big help, especially if you get later in the day and you're realizing, wait a minute, I've got this big lot that I'm looking to buy, but my phone's dead and I can't comp cards. That's a big problem to run into, and the charger helps you avoid that. Now, those are the things that we need, but let's talk about some strategy here. How do you approach a card show? I'll give you some tips and tricks and general ideas of things that I think about or how I approach things. First is know your budget. Now, everybody asks, how much money do I need to take to a card show? And the answer is, well, how much money do you have? If you are, running this as a business, you should know how much in cash you have and liquidity you have at the business at the moment. And if you're doing this as a hobby, you should know how much you're willing to spend on cards right now. Generally, I say think about how much you want to spend and then add a little bit, because we all know when push comes to shove, if you were looking at a card on eBay at $100 and the bid goes up to 100 and you can get it for an extra $5, you're probably going to do it. But don't overgo with the budget. You don't need to overdo it. Everybody can do anything with a certain budget. With the new collector challenge, as I said, you could start out with $1 and it could work totally great. So think about what your budget is, know what it is, and try to stick to that. And you can if you're only bringing cash. Do your research. Now, this is both in terms of thinking about the players that you want to buy, knowing the market for some of these guys, know who's up, know who's down, know who's hot, know who's not, those types of things. It also helps if you're looking for a specific card to just off the top of your head know what it's worth. I also think that it's important to do some research on some super common cards. Know what they are worth, because that can help you quickly identify if a dealer is generally accurate on their pricing or not. So a Shohei Ohtani, Topps update rookie debut. I know that in a PSA 10, that's about a $150 card. So if I walk up to a table and that guy's got it at $250, I can expect that a lot of his stuff may be off comp-wise. So pick some really common cards that you might expect to see at a lot of dealers' tables, and that might be a good one to save you some time on having to research all their comps, but do your research before the show. Try to see everything first with a big asterisk there. When I get to a show, I want to walk around, the whole show floor. The asterisk is if it's a big show, you're not going to be able to do that. As well as if you see a really good deal on a card or a card that you want that's really rare, buy it. I like to walk around the show first because I like to know what's on the floor and what I need to spend my time on thinking about buying, and so that I don't spend all my money with one dealer and then realize that there was another dealer who had better stuff, better cards, etc. But if you don't buy a card, I can't tell you the number of times that I've looked at a card at a show and said, okay, I'm going to do my lap and then I'm going to come back and negotiate or try and buy that. And by the time I get back, it's gone. So try to see everything first. If you see the right deal, of course, take it. As well as if it's a really, really big show. If you're at the National, you're not going to be able to see everything first. You might not see everything in the full weekend. So that also changes things a little bit. But try and get a sense of what's in the room and where you want to be spending your time. Focus on building relationships. I cannot emphasize how important relationships are in the hobby. There are dealers that I go to week in and week out, and I know that I get better deals because I buy from them consistently. And I know that they give me better deals because they know that I'm going to come back and spend money time and time again. You want to build relationships with people. Having that relationship is going to get you better deals on cards. Full stop. No question. So put in the time. If you are sitting, flipping through Value Box, chat it up with the dealer. Talk to people. I know that it may feel awkward. I know that you may or may not be a social butterfly. I'm an introvert personally, but card shows make me an extrovert. I really work hard to talk with people, get to know people. I think that putting in that time to build those relationships really does matter. If the deal isn't right, walk away. I don't care how much time you spent on it. If the deal's not right, don't force it. Now, don't lose a deal over $5 unless it's, a $10 lot that you're wanting for $5 because the comps are $5, but like you get the gist of what I'm saying. If it's so close and you don't want to let it go, that's great. But if the deal's not right, just because you spent a lot of time does not mean that you should therefore force yourself into doing the deal. I've had times where I've spent hours at a table. We go through, the guy said, hey, I'll work with you. And then when push came to shove, he didn't. So I walked away. I left, hundreds of cards that I pulled out of his value boxes and sorted things. And I said, sorry, like I know that it's a pain, but you're asking me 96% when I'm buying 500 $2 cards from you. I can't do that personally. It's for me in my card business. I can't do it. I get it. It's your card, your price. I'm not going to get offended if you're not wanting to give me a deal, but if it's not the right deal, walk away. There's always going to be more cards. Don't get cute. This is a really, really big tip. If it's a good deal, just buy it. I'm going to repeat that again. If it is a good deal, just buy it. I can't tell you the number of times that I see a card that is well under market. Maybe they priced it previously. Maybe they don't know what they have. And you go and you say, hey, you got 20 bucks on this. Can you do 15? And then they go and they look it up. And they look up the comps and they say, whoa, wait a minute. This is a $100 card. I'm sorry, I can't do that low. That was priced from when I bought it or something like that. And then all of a sudden you lose the deal there and you lose the opportunity to buy it. Whereas if you just walked up to the table and said, hey, can I buy that card? They're not going to look it up. You're paying exactly what they think they're asking for it. So perfect. Good to go. Don't get cute. Just buy it. Easy. And then the most important tip is have fun. You're going to the card show to have fun. Even for me, when I'm going for my business where I'm trying to make content, get inventory to sell and make money on, my foundation always in the hobby is to have fun. So make sure that you're having a good time. I think all of these things help you have a good time and have fun, but make sure that that is your key focus there. Now, I hope that this was helpful in terms of strategy and ways to approach a card show, whether it's your first one or your 100th. It's really, really fun. I've got a card show here in Nashville tomorrow that should be a blast. I love the little local shows, but we've also got the big card show coming up, of course, at the beginning of February 7th through 9th. That's a huge show, 800 tables. You guys can expect card show content from me coming up. Local card shows, big card shows, you name it. It's really, really fun to document the experience. We're going to be doing stuff for the New Collector Challenge, as well as always highlighting the card business myself, the deals that we're doing. I'm going to try and find ways to record the deals and show kind of the behind the scenes of the negotiation and all this and that, because I think that that is really informative and shows you how I approach these deals. So gonna try and do that. If you guys want to see that, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow along. Big time appreciate you guys that are checking out the video. Those likes, comments really mean a lot. It really, really helps the page grow. I can't believe how much we are growing right now, and I'm hoping to see it continue, of course. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks for checking out the video. We'll catch you in the next one.